Hello, you're watching A New Way of Being, hosted by Abhatag Electra and Andragon on Facebook Live.
On YouTube
YouTube
live this
Live.
time
I
because
forgot.
Facebook has been sabotaging the video of broadcast. We've tried to do on the social media platform.
Yes,
How are you, Avatar?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm under the circumstances. I'm doing okay. Um, so where do you want to go with this broadcast?
Well, I have to speak in our society today. I'm seeing how women are being treated by men, and women are literally being pushed around, forced to say what men want them to say.
Mm,
These are things that should never take place in any society. Women are the ones who gave birth to you all, even when there were no men in the world.
mm,
Women were given birth to baby girls. After a period of time, they decided that they wanted to have a different species along with the first species. And so they created men out and started taking over, and women would not tolerate it. And so they started showing the men how they're supposed to conduct themselves. Of development, many men have become um, caring, respectful, responsible, recognizing that the person is their partner if they're married to them and looking after each other,
mm,
recognizing that means that other people can get married, have their spouses without being terrorized and persecuted to um, get rid of the person so that you can now hop in, whether you're a man or a woman.
mm,
And we're practicing that kind of behavior, setting up the society to behave irresponsible. And the society of people are not there to grow up to become this responsible and disrespectful people. They were brought into this world so that they conduct ourselves.
mm,
Things must be done with respect and dignity. When you're doing damage to human beings, like Nancy Pelosi is using Trump to do to me and sometimes the rest of my family. In the past, a lot of them, all of us were being attacked at the same time.
mm,
Now we are being separated and attacked and persecuted, terrorized, tortured, and we are supposed to stay quiet. And when we do speak about it, nobody does anything about it. We are living in crisis, being
mm,
terrorized in my mouth, in my head, in my hair, in my body, in
mm,
every part of my body has been used by a technology created by the United States, by the United States to Donald J. Trump. And he has been used by Nancy Pelosi to kill my family out, and as well as Prime Minister Trudeau. We did not deserve that because none of us have been doing anything wrong. My mom and dad, they behaved responsibly. They were caring, respectful person. My mom was a caring, respectful person. On my father's side, he did not do very good when we grew up. He did not even want to pay attention to us when we were babies
mm,
until when we grew up. Suddenly, he is trying to find ways to sleep with my sister, and we are the ones who told my mom that we want to see our dad. We love our dad, and would like to see him. And she took us there, both there. Before you know it, this is what we were going through. And became a teenager, he's making advances that I do not believe any father should be doing to his child.
mm,
So I was very angry about that. And when I left my father's home to escape his behavior, I was I came to the United States after speaking to my mom, and she said, go ahead and do what you would like to do with your life. And that's what I did. I went to the United States with intentions of learning more about the United States, and was happy at the beginning. And after a period of time, the United States. When I left the United States, when I was about to leave the United States, Nancy Pelosi told Trump and Mr. Trudeau. I found out about that later on. Actually, I heard her telling them to kill my family.
mm,
And I was disappointed that they would do that. And I thought it was just Mr. Trump, and after a period of time, I found out Mr. Trudeau was a part of it. Either he called Mr. Trudeau to help him, or Nancy Pelosi told them both to go and do it. And they killed out my family, and I ended up with practically no one for me. The few people I have, I can't even speak about it. And I've been tortured all of my life in Canada too. And when I found out what was done, I told Mr. Trudeau that he owed some money for mother at least was protected, and they killed out my mother too. She did not harm anyone. We never did. I never did. I was being attacked and abused, and no one cared about my rights. And they lied and said things that were not true. To lie. Mr. Trump is using that technology and doing whatever damage Nancy Pelosi tell him to do to me. And Nancy Pelosi did not know me. She just was setting up Trump to terrorize me all of my life, and I could not understand why.
What's your life in the United States?
United States.
And then you came to
Canada.
Then
I came to Canada. He told them, kill me. And she told the Canadian government to kill me. And but they did not. Instead, Trump was there wherever we went to live to attack and abuse us in our lives in Canada. And our daughter, they tried to kill her as a baby.
She was born.
Yeah. And fun what was being done to us. We were being attacked and abused, and we did not understand still what was going on. It's after a period of time I discovered that Mr. Donald J. Trump was the one who was using people and doing it on his own to try to kill us out, because they gave people the impression that he wiped out African people. We were wondering how come COVID-19 is so developed to understand what they wanted to wipe out, and they wiped out the African race, African males.
Well,
not wipe them all completely out, but
COVID-19.
Yeah,
is being used.
They killed a lot of people of African and people of other nationalities too. And these things, parents must have the development to know what right and wrong is, train their children to do to behave accordingly. And when you keep your children trained and you show them the love without disrespecting them, and no one should be raping anyone and doing damage to anyone. These are things that has been told by the United States, that I raped my baby sister, which never happened. And many of you who have that kind of deformity going on in your own society would believe that, because that's what you're being told. And a lot of people are told that African people are doing all these bad things. People who are sleazy, they do all these bad things, and don't trust them.
Criminal-minded, savages.
And and these are things that are not true at all. As a matter of fact, if I have to say any of it is true, I've been seeing other nationalities who are well respected by the society for being the Caucasian color have been doing a lot of damage by what they're saying and doing to human beings of color. I've seen it in different shows. I've seen it in the house that they're fixing. I've seen it in people's behavior, and it showed me the prejudices that they're carrying, and causing a lot of people stress and terrorization because of what they're thinking and acting up to make sure that human beings like us are degraded, persecuted, and that they can people, that we're living in an environment where a lot of human beings of certain nationalities especially are using all kinds of egotistical, ignorant behaviors that is undermining the rights of all nationalities. Everyone in the face of this earth, of any nationality, are precious, and even the animals, they're all precious to the source. And this is the source, and I know that word as if it's theirs to use. Nobody even knew where it came from.
Some other places have used that name, but only true source is the original being in existence.
I am the one who called out who I was, that I was the source, before I told them who I definitely was. That was part of it. And the source carries that kind of information. I'm noticing that men, Caucasian European men, some of them, not all, are spending their times trying to control people of color and other nationalities that have a right to be able to live and dream and grow and know their rights from the wrongs and know how to treat each other. Instead, they're getting what is being done to them.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the right way to live. Because other nationalities are doing it to you does not mean that everyone in that through that kind of treatment from the Caucasian European people who has been doing this damage to. And I'm hearing men making comments and remarks as if to say, I have no right to have strength. I should be limber and let them do whatever they want with me. And so they send out different people to do damage to me. Right now, my whole head is in flames from being attacked. And normally, my whole body is in all kinds of pain in the bones, and different parts of my body is being attacked. My kneecaps are being attacked and abused. Donald J. Trump and his friends who brings to do this damage is doing it to us. And when they want to see problems, the first thing they want to call out is the African men and treat them like they have committed crimes when many of them have not. And it's because of the prejudices of the systems that are running things. They're doing damage to all nationalities that are not like them. And they're creating these kind of lies with intentions of turning one set against the other. What it is and why it is going on, you will understand that there's prejudice in your society, and many people are being attacked and abused by these people who are practicing this kind of prejudices that is undermining the whole society, including the world. We are beings of living light. We're not here to destroy you. We never were. You set up all kinds of that you decided that we are when you did not even know of our personalities and the kind of people that we have been. And if it were not for interference by your systems, my husband and I would not be having problems at different times. We would have been living in a manner in which is beneficial to the rights of all those who are around us, because they will know one thing. There's no reason to go and steal another person's husband or go and create problems with their boyfriends or whoever or girlfriends. The way you can live is to recognize is if you have the rights to be treated properly, then the other people have the rights to also be treated properly. And no one will be given rights to another to do damage to other people. If they're doing that, it's because they have some mental problems that they need to resolve. And you don't run around calling people names because they're a different nationality with intentions of giving people the impression that they're underdeveloped or not really people you can trust or work with and so on, because they're no good. That's not quite true. And by how people of nationality was being treated. It's not right what you're doing. If you want to be treated well, how you expect other people to treat you well when you're persecuting and terrorizing others? You're putting it out in the environment to destroy the whole society. And when you do that, the ones that are hurt most are the children, the babies, especially of certain nationalities. That's how twisted your society has become. If you want a society to work, you must make sure that you practice the kind of behavior that does not undermine people, but upgrades everyone that you meet and you speak to or speak about. Try to do that so that I won't be coming so angry and have to speak about the wrongs that are being done with intentions of showing why you need to see it and what you need to recognize as wrong and why you should not practice those kinds of behaviors, because it creates all kinds of deception and ignorance in the society. It's time for people who recognize that they are great beings and they were put out here by gods so that they can grow, understand, and learn to love all beings and treat them with respect and dignity. You do not know how to think properly, so you want to run and hop in bed with everybody. Hopping in bed with everybody does not help you, it hurts you. It hurts your body, it hurts all kinds of things in you that you see after a period of time. And those that you can't see, others will show it to you by what they tell you. It's time for us to make those changes and start looking at people with respect and dignity and speaking in such a way too. Because that is what is going to help your society to show their best quality, and everyone will be able to will be able to connect properly because of the kind of vibrations that you would be putting out in the environment. That positive energy, thank you, will help you. It will help you to realize that that's what it takes for together to be the kind of beings that they were born to be and achieve every aspect of themselves. And finding that they're leading others in that condition too, to grow, and that men are superior against women because women have more pure thoughts than men. Men need to start looking at the things that they're doing, start dealing with their families with more respect, and stop looking to hop from with your eyes open and acting as if you must sleep with everybody that you see. Of you, and so that you can also get an understanding of them, so that you all can work together without doing any wrong things that undermine yourself and each other. Help your society to grow in a prosperous way in how you treat them, your language, your care for them. To be not safe in a society is to be very fearful in what you're surrounded with. Things have to get their own intelligence back together and start learning to live in a manner in which is without deceit, without looking to undermine, but looking instead to help people to know that you care, and you're not here to destroy them. You're just here to upgrade yourself, and hopefully they can be upgraded too through the information that they receive from you. So we are each other's keepers. We are supposed to be there for each other, but not to pull people down and think because of a color that you're superior. That's ignorance. And when you kill people for a certain nationality and think you have a right to get away with that, then what you're doing is setting up all kinds of evils in your environment that is going to get back and destroy you after a period of time. So stop the ignorance and start thinking with a level head for the rights and the abilities of everyone to show itself, so that we can work together as a family and upgrade the qualities of life for everybody, and men included. We love you all very much. The condition that we're in today need to make changes in, so that everyone have their needs met in the right way. And I don't mean going looking to sleep around. That does not make you look good. What makes you look good is helping each other, and recognize that when you see someone that you would like to be with for the rest of your life, you can marry. Because when you're discriminating, you're throwing out hate. You're throwing out evil. You're throwing out all the deceptions that destroys the whole lifetime of people. So you need to make those changes and stop playing games. And police should not be teaching other police people to do damage to human beings by kneeling on another person's neck and treating them like they're an animal. That is wrong. Police and the government need to stop playing the game to destroy the rights of other people, thinking they have a right to because they're superior over the other people. No, they're not. You said you were servants of the people. How did you become the ones ruling them?
The tyrants.
You can't do that. You have to allow people the rights to come together and speak as a body against wrongs that are taking place, and show where the rights have to be and why these wrongs are not going to do well in our society. Stop terrorizing human beings. Instead, look to help them. And you shouldn't keep people working night and day, or too busy working and no time to train their children. And then you turn around and put their children in jail because their children aren't trained enough to know how to behave, because they're going along with other people who are telling them things. And many times the ones who are running things and their children is pushing other people to make some changes to benefit the rights of everyone. Stop being selfish and self-centered. Stop thinking it's all about you and nobody. Think in terms of the rights of yourself and see what it feels like to recognize when something is wrong, if it's being done to you. And when you start thinking, start recognizing that if it's done to you and you felt this way, I can't do it to another. When things that are wrong being done to others, it's wrong for you to do, because you're going to create chaos. And that's what's happening here in your society. Change your behavior, so that all of your families of all nationalities will not be discriminated against. You will not be doing evil against anyone, because you will know what that entails. Start doing the right thing. And learn to love yourself and love each other. Don't cheapen yourself, and don't try to sell people to be cheap. Let them show their qualities and you show yours so that you can develop great qualities in your world. And you won't have these kind of tyranny going on because of level-headed, low-class thinkers, people who are not developed to be able to think enough to know what's right and what is wrong. You need to understand what wrong is and what right is, and pursue the right, and do not and block the wrong from getting into your life, and the is on their own after a period of time. Good luck on your journey, and blessings to all of you. You're loved. That much you do know.
Some questions for you, Avatar.
Yes.
The Avatar lived as the God known as Lord Jesus 2,000 years ago, as the God known as Lord Buddha 2,500 years ago, as the God known as Lord Krishna 5,200 years ago, back on the planet as a woman, guys of color. We talk about this broadcast. It's time for the golden age of equality, peace, prosperity, and heart to come to planet Earth. You call this golden age a new way of being. How do we get human beings who are now locked into a way of thinking and living where they're trapped by all kinds of misguided, misinformed beliefs, values, and views that tell them they can change the pie and become somebodies in this culture, and then when they die, they leave behind all that they have spent their lives trying to accumulate and take only, as you point out, the lessons they've learned through the relationships that they've formed. So, question is, how do you get human beings today on this planet to learn to bring this new way of being into their lives across the surface of this planet today? How do they do that?
They have to get rid of the problems on television. Those vicious, evil things that are shown on TV should not be allowed. They have to start speaking to each other with more respect and dignity. The government must do that. The people must do that. The people must be allowed the freedom to make decisions for themselves and know when something is right and wrong. They should allow to train their kids before their kids go into any kind of services. And the parents should be trained enough to be able to protect the rainforest. To upgrade people, not much. These kind of systems should not be allowed to run anything because it's robbing the people of their rights, and certain nationality have even more rights. And no one should sit back and see that they're having the large feast, and then other people on the other side are starving and suffering, and you're blaming them. And if they're not going out to their jobs, you're treating them as if they're supposed to be the slaves. And if they're not, you're going to beat them down with your words to insult and degrade them so that they will go back and start practicing what you want them. Their decisions on them. You're robbing them of their rights to be able to think, to understand what needs to be done and how they can go about doing it. And if there are problems in what they're doing, the systems are supposed to listen to what the people have to say so that they can make changes to benefit the rights of all beings. Not leave them there to starve to death and call them all kinds of names like lazy and ignorant and all these black names that they call, and these Oriental people that they're trying to destroy, and other nationalities that are being mistreated. This is ignorance. If you have any kind of development, you will know that those things are very stupid, and they should not be allowed in being themselves highly developed into a point where they can walk around as the gods that they are born from. Behave in the manner in which you normally know that is right to behave. Attacking their ears so they can't hear properly, attacking their nostrils so that they can get coronavirus, as they call it. These are the things that Donald J. Trump has been doing to this family. And instead, they have practiced destroying the family of the Avatar for years. They have been put through this kind of treatment. And this has got to stop, and your government owes the family money in the billions. And they need to pay the rent that they owe, because they have created this problem for the Avatar. She was working as a movie extra, and she was being persecuted. She was terrorized doing a hair show, and she did nothing to anyone. She is the person who has been there without harming anyone and was being harmed every step of the way by your government systems by those men who think they're superior and have a right to be able to control and do things to people that they think their power gives them the right to do.
Mhm.
That is not a power that is given to anyone to do on any human being, especially when these are people who have not done anything to any of you or anybody else. You tried to treat her, turn her into a criminal by sending all kinds of people to torment and torture her using Donald J. Trump.
And others.
And with
But
Nancy
especially.
Pelosi helping on the other side. Nobody cares.
Mm.
When this kind of scenario is taking place and they do not, they're trying to kill you, there's a problem and nobody's bothering with it because these people are African people.
The victims. Yes.
They're the victims of circumstance, of the prejudices that your systems, calling yourself Caucasian European, and these are the people who gave you your lives, and you're turning around and looking to kill them, turning them into human beings who in the past that was supposed to do what you say and not what they want to say or what they want to speak about with each other as a family. Robbing them of their family heritage, robbing them of their rights to speak, robbing them of their rights to speak the truth about what is being done, and no carry.
They go along to get along.
Yes, gang.
Yeah.
You know, this is wrong. Your systems need to change their behavior, and it needs to be changed right away. They need to pay the money that they owe to the people of other nationalities that they have undermining. And they need to pay the money to the African people, such as this family and other families, for what they have been doing to them for years and blocking them from their rights to be able to achieve anything. This is evil.
True.
On this note, I will allow the avatar's husband to speak because he has a right to be able to speak. He's an intelligent man too, as the avatar is.
Yes.
And they know what right and wrong is, and they want this kind of insanity stopped.
Actually, what I want to do, community of gods, not the avatar, just ignoring and dismissing the pronouncements made to them by the avatar, that there's a compensation owed to his family for the debts they have committed for the crimes they've committed against his family for decades. How do we get these two governments to go from ignoring the avatar's pronouncements to them to taking steps to actually pay this debt out?
Well, they have been told for years now. They owed $300 billion in the United States because she was being attacked for no reason, and she was not allowed the right to be able to be paid properly for the work that she was doing. She was being tormented and tortured right at the beginning of her working in certain places, and the United States government saw her and they started attacking and abusing her.
Yes.
For no reason.
Yes. Killed her 16 different times. Blackline died over the years, and her sister gods brought her back to life so that she can continue to do the work that she's here to do.
Yes, and they were trying to also force her to sleep around with other men, and she won't participate in that scenario. So she became a victim of circumstance.
Yes.
And so they have been terrorizing her, attacking her under the feet. They got worse and worse as time went on, and they were attacking her on an everyday basis for quite a few months. Then they started doing other things, still attacking, but finding different ways in which to attack, and abusing her in the skull, attacking her in the skull all over her head. Right now, as I'm sitting here in this head, it is extremely painful.
Yeah, the cavities, the brain being attacked.
It's extremely painful. Every aspect of your skull is in pain because of what is being done by your United States government. And the person who was speaking to you earlier was my sister.
One of her sister gods.
Yes.
They really identify themselves by name, and I don't ask them to tell me who they are. When they start talking about the avatar, I know that another god is here speaking to you, the people. And it's always a pleasure to have them show up and speak to you through the avatar's body, using her voice and her voice tone to speak to you, the people, from the fourth dimension inside the avatar's body.
It's not a very nice thing to terrorize human beings when they have not done anything to you, terrorizing the children in the school system for being African, terrorizing people in the streets so that you can have people turn really angry and start fighting to protect themselves, and finding that you'll suddenly show yourselves and start abusing them and killing them and doing all kinds of stuff to them. You know what you're doing. You've been doing it all along and getting away with all of these things. It's time for you to recognizing that everyone is seeing what you're doing. Even the ones who you're killing out are aware. It's time for that to change. Start doing the right thing, or you are going to be also wiped out yourselves. And this is not a threat. This is something that is going to happen naturally when you practice a lot of evil and you put it in the environment. It starts taking all kinds of life. And that's what you've been doing for years, decades. And it's time for you to deal with what you have created, or stop it simply by not terrorizing human beings and recognizing that they are your equals. And if you want them to be your equals, it means that your sense of thinking must evolve. They are much more developed than you are, because they don't look to do damage to you. You're looking to do damage to them. And you need to stop playing games and lying and setting up the people in their own culture to time, and taking the blame for any European Caucasian man that has been doing all the wrongs, or even women. In this case, the Avatar took a lot of persecution and terrorization for just being. She wasn't doing anything to anyone. They set up the Caucasian women and some of the men to come and try to abuse her. Yes, if she didn't, she would have been dead by now. As a matter of fact, she died quite a few times. We are the ones who helped to get her back on the go, and she did a great job by what she did, and I'm very proud of her. And she is the leader of all of life, is what we gave. So please do yourself a favor. Stop thinking it's all about you. She is the source, not you. You need to pay her the money for using her name. She is the one who has been there for y'all, and y'all are the ones who have been attacking, abusing, setting up all kinds of scenarios, thinking that because you see she can dance or she can do different things, that she's something like y'all who is behaving irresponsible. She's not better. You're lacking in development. You think you have a right to everything and others don't have a right to what they have a right to. Have a right to it also. And when you're treating them like they're junk and putting them in jail and torturing them like you tortured the Avatar, her whole body is in torture.
Yes.
And you did damage to her daughter without her daughter even doing anything to anybody. She was well brought up. You didn't take the time to get to know the family. You took the time to destroy the family. And that's where you made your big mistake, because you're not developed enough to know right from wrong. You're too busy being jealous and prejudiced and looking for ways to undermine people for looking good. And set up to destroy their families by going after their husbands or their wives. You need to make some changes, and not everybody that you see you set up to become lesbians does not mean that they're bad people. It means that what you have done was set up for them in bad things to do, and they end up hurting themselves and other people in the process. Well, as a government, you're not supposed to be allowing that kind of situation, and you have too much power over the people. The people have a right to have and no time for their own family to grow and doing this damage to you and your children. Stop the hell that is being allowed the freedom to get along to do this to damage other people. It's time for it to go, because you're going to find a whole world is going to be destroyed altogether after a period of time. You won't have very long to live in this world if you continue this way. It's time to stop it. And this is not because you're practicing the kind of evils that destroy the rights of other people, turn people in all kinds of stuff, and set them up to be killed or persecuted, terrorized. There were many people that were being set up by Donald J. Trump to terrorize the Avatar. She went to get her teeth done. Do you know what they did? The dentist didn't care. He was just listening to what Trump was telling him through that technology that Nancy Pelosi gave him to use to control people to do what they want him to do.
Mhm.
So he turned everybody against the Avatar and terrorized their daughter, their son,
Mm.
creating all kinds of problems for the family. This is the time for humankind to rediscover a priceless
Treasure.
treasure that is
Stored.
stored inside each member of life forever. Life on earth is in transition and is going through a complete transformation. Garbage. You need to live in quality. When you have that, you will notice your whole world will be behaving with the things of life.
Mm. It's time for the golden age of peace, prosperity, equality, and harmony to come to planet Earth. But before it does, all the different vices and devices that have been used to imprison, enslave, torment, torture, degrade, devalue human beings for
Corrupt.
ages,
Yeah.
corrupt, those will have to be brought to the surface, examined, exposed, removed from the hearts and minds of human beings, from the systems and governments being used to control, manipulate, and oppress their lives. So until, and this new if being is now and must be separated from the garbage, being pulled and pushed to the surface for human beings to deal with, look at carefully, truthfully, honestly, and openly, and understand that all that they've been taught about who they are, what they are, where they come from, and how they are supposed to live have been mostly a body of misinformation, misconception, lies, deceit, deception, taught to you by men, especially who've made themselves lords and masters over your lives for not just one age, but a number of ages. And so this dysfunctional, desecrating way of living, where one gender has put themselves in authority over the other gender, and one race has decided that they are the master race and should control and own everything. These today.
Yes.
And so you're seeing evidence of this unrest in the hearts and minds of people calling for justice, calling for equality, calling out for everyone to be recognized as equals
Mm-hmm.
and viewed and treated as
As
equals.
equals. They're special beings. When
Yes.
you do junk on them, you're turning them into what you're doing to them.
Mhm.
Allow them the right and the opportunity to be trained by their families in a
Mm.
way in which, when we see each other, you can see that they're beautiful human beings.
Mm. And
It's
what we're here to
important.
do,
Sorry, no,
I'm sorry,
sorry. No, I am sorry.
we're here to show you how to connect with your true identity as daughters and sons, immortal daughters and sons of God, and also beings who have an abundance of spiritual treasures,
Mhm.
timeless truths, ancient knowledge, and deep wisdoms locked away inside your hearts and minds, given to you by your Creator. And you have this vast treasure of genetic abilities, 97% of which science today have dismissed as junk DNA. You have dozens of strands of pairs of DNA inside. So we're here to remind you of your true identity as immortal daughters and sons of God
Mhm.
who come to this planet over and over again to live as you are men in this lifetime, guys, but in other ones you've lived as well as women. You've lived, maybe you're living as a member of the Caucasian human race today, but you have lived in other races other times as a member of the African race, the Hispanic race, the Oriental race, the indigenous races, and so on.
You go around as you
Yes.
go, you come back as a different race.
Hmm.
And it's important because this is how people can connect properly.
Yes.
And so far, what has been being done is not good.
Yes.
It can change. We can improve on how we treat each other. We have to do that because look, now they're raping babies, ladies and gentlemen. And if they can rape babies, anything they can rape. They've been raping women, and if you notice, after a while, they went on to other children, and now they're babies and boys, and Catholic Church and churches. I think people need to start forming their own churches for them and start dealing with their rights and start recognizing that that's the only way that everyone will find themselves in heaven on earth.
Yes.
You don't need to go to heaven to be in heaven. You could be in heaven right here. You have to lay the foundation. You have to behave responsibly. You have to treat people with respect and dignity because of what is being done to them by others. And many of you have set it up. Stop it. Give people back their lives by not terrorizing their opportunities to develop, to be the kind of beings they were born to be.
And stop treating human beings as if they are useless eaters and living things, as people of color have been treated and viewed for ages now, for millenniums now, by those members of the Caucasian European race who came to decide that they are the superior race and they can do anything they want to do and choose to do because they have somehow hold the belief that they have been created in the image of the Creator and given some kind of divine right to impose their will and their agenda on the lives of other human beings. That's a bunch of garbage. And you know it. And that's why, as the Avatar says, we're equals forever, no matter who and what we are. And none of us is
better than another.
Whether we're a woman
or a man,
boy
or girl,
or
have all the money
in the world. If you think that you are
superior to someone else, it is only because you feel inferior inside yourself.
Women are owned or controlled by men. Boys are viewed as society's prize and the apples
of
every family's eyes, while girls are restricted, cursed, and condemned over and over again. That's from the Avatar's, one of her sacred songs called Equals Forever. Authorities who run this continent have intentionally prevented her from bringing this body of timeless truth, ancient knowledge, and deep wisdom to you, the people. And so you're struggling and suffering and living in a world where you are losing your qualities and you are being stripped of all that you need to access so that you can transform.
Tortured. My husband has been tortured. Our daughter has been tortured. And we want the society to recognize that what we know from what has happened to us should be put out in media because they need, these people need to pay us our money because they've blocked us from everything. While they all said we were lazy.
Yes.
Lazy, we never
lacking
were.
ambition.
And if you only got to know us, you would understand that we are not lazy. We are lacking in ambition. And as a matter of fact, we're people who love to be working all the time, night and day in our home.
Yes.
And if we have a business and we're trying to get our money from the United States and the Canadian government, because we have to open our own business and start, and adults, if they're working with you, how they're supposed to be treated, and why we should not undermine their ability to be able to information that they can pass on to others too and help each other and themselves. So what we need from all of you is our money, and the rest of it we'll be able to do what we're ready to do.
From the governments, US and Canada,
Yeah.
and who holds a torch in the right hand, extended, lit, covered in 4 stages, completely in water, disappearing from the face of the earth. And one of her sister gods told her that was the United States that disappeared from the surface of Lady Gaia. And Canada also disappeared completely from the landmass of Lady Gaia. That is not a threat, it is a forecast that we're sharing with you to let you know that you have to take what we're telling you seriously, because this existential threat, existential a way of life, that you must be given the compensation that they need and deserve, so that we can then reach out and help millions of people across the planet who have been downtrodden, oppressed, deprived, and denied of the opportunity and the right to live their lives with dignity and respect and be close to the hour. So what they want to go over that.
Remember,
Go ahead.
this is the source.
Yes.
We have information that we were blocked from. I was blocked from a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
information by Mr. Trump, Donald J. Trump, who used the technology that Nancy Pelosi gave him to
Mhm.
kill or other and do other things with it. And this is happening, and many other people in the public,
Yes.
especially people of color.
Mm.
The Orientals are in danger. The Indian people are in danger.
Yes.
The Hispanic people are in danger,
Yes.
and the
First Nations,
First Nations people are
indigenous.
they are in danger.
Yes.
And we need to have this kind of change made because these people think they have a right to control and persecute, terrorize, and kill
Mm.
anybody they want to and get away with it. And they have been getting away with it. We want changes made to benefit the rights of everyone, not just some. Because some of a lot those who have the power gave them the power to be able to get away with what they're doing have caused a lot of damage on many of us. And we want these changes made, looked at, pay us our money. And if you all want to continue living this way, then you all can speak as a group and start dealing with the problem. But you have to deal with it. You cannot just let it go by and destroy so many people, babies included. Not good. And
As you
children.
sow,
Mhm.
sorry, Avatar. As you sow,
You
so
should.
shall you reap. That
Yes.
is the golden rule.
Yes. On that note, blessings to all of you. I wish
Yes.
you the best. I hope you do the right thing and recognize that this is what you have to do in order for you to be able to from the problems that you have created for others.
Mm.
Thank you for listening and good luck on your journey.
You've been watching A New Way of Being
Hosted by Avatar and Andragon.
on YouTube Live.
Blessings to you all.